Welcome back, and today we are going to be playing out the Strikemaster. This thing is actually quite unique, it's different, and I think these kind of planes are great for the battle pass. At 6.3 the flight performance is pretty damn good. However, you can tell by the fact that I'm running 4 of these gun ports, which will have 2 extra guns each, that these guns just ain't it. And you really have to play around the guns that you have on this thing, because they are only 7.62s. You only have 1 belt and they're half AP, they're not particularly fantastic. It's death by 1,000 cuts. But you are a jet at 6.3, this thing is pretty damn fast, it turns quite okay, and the gun pulls, at least as of right now, don't really hinder your performance. I had a pretty good time in the thing. Yes, I was yelling all the way throughout it, because these guns just do absolutely nothing. But as we all know, we love getting mad at video games, and that's why we keep playing them. You do have to third-party things like the F-84, which is why the second I saw this guy engaging the Mk.88, I veered off to engage this guy. You do not want jets in the enemy team. You want these guys out of the lobby as quickly as you can, so you have some monopoly on the speed department. When you are faster than everyone in the lobby, this thing becomes quite the menace. Yes, it's annoying when you get 2v1, it does turn quite well, you can dogfight most of the props, but in the 2v1 you will run out of energy eventually, mainly because you just have to keep getting shots on people, since you won't kill them in a singular pass. That is the main downfall of this thing. If this thing had 20mm, it would probably be 7.0. Yes, it's not that fantastic, but against props, it's quite filthy. It's better than the J21 in my opinion. The issue again is just going to be the guns. If you don't run the extra guns, you're not going to get very far. You'll get a clip in here when I only run 2 of the gun pulls. Yes, it does perform a little bit better because you just don't have the extra weight strapped to your plane. But you just won't kill anyone. I've only tried it 1 game, it wasn't worth it. I ended up with like 3 assists, I think I did. And I instantly went to 4 of them, which is doable, it's not fantastic. If you watch Smeagol's video, you know that the rocket ports aren't really it either. F-80 chases us to the edge of the map. I run away a little bit to get away from the other props. And we will dogfight this guy in 1 or 2 turns. It's a very easy kill. But you saw that he flew away for a little bit. If he had run, I wouldn't have been able to kill him. Fighting jets in this thing is very annoying, at least if they hold their speed. Most people don't, and they end up like this. If you have the ability to get people slow, you can just kind of spray them down until they finally combust into flames. That is okay, but if they try to run from you, you don't have the firepower to snipe them unless you get like a lucky oil leak on engine hit or kill the pilot or whatever. If you hit a lucky component, yes, it's doable. But if you're facing someone that knows what they're doing in an F-84, an F-80 or whatever the hell they are flying, you're gonna have an issue. G56 comes in, I steer off a little bit because the Mk.83 comes in, and then the other 2 just run into the airfield, and I'm now free to dogfight the Mk.83. Don't want to take the head on, I don't need to explain why. We will turn into this guy's loop very quickly, and the main strength of this plane is actually just the retention. This thing will hold its speed about as well as your mother holding my balls. It's pretty good at it. And because of this, most of the time you will get in good positions by the time the props are out of energy. Now sure, the Mk.83 isn't particularly the best at dogfighting. It has very good energy generation, but by the time that starts to come into play, I'm already shooting at him. Now, last 3 guys of the enemy team here, we have 4 kills. We just landed, we rearmed, and we have 3 guys left, P-51, an F-8F and an F-7F. And we are in a 3v1. Now what are we gonna do? I need to kill one of these quickly, because if it's a 3v1, I basically can't win anymore because I'm not able to get good enough angles on people to really spray them down. The F-8F, as of right now, is somewhat secluded, so I go sideways, make him climb up a little bit further from us. He stalls himself out. We now dive on him, and I need to kill him right here. I need this guy dead. Now if I was a little bit unlucky, it wouldn't have killed him right there, and that would have been quite the issue. Luckily he gets set on fire, and he ends up eating the ground. P-51H is behind us, however there's another dot directly behind him as well. It is the F-7F. So I'm gonna be flying away from the F-7F as I start initiating the energy trap. This guy is on a bit of a lower energy state. It's a prop, we should have a better high speed retention, which is what we are utilizing right here. Go into a little bit of a linear way, slightly up. Just kind of outrun him, sit above his climb speed, and get away from him and get some separation up. P-51Hs are still pretty annoying to fight in this thing. I do think that this thing has the upper hand. And the issue again is just going to be the guns. We are faster, he climbs a lot better, but he can go pretty fast as well when he's diving after us. So you need to be careful of him. They can win the dogfight, I think. It's pretty close. But again, at high speed, we just hold our speed much better, which is the main thing we want to utilize here. The P-51H is trying to break off and trying to get me to fly towards him so that the F7F can probably like help him out, which is okay with me. So I'm gonna kind of fly into him, go sideways, pick up some speed with a dive. We are now going about 540. I'm gonna fly past him. I'm gonna make him pitch up into us by getting him closer, by letting him cut off my flight path. And then once he gets close enough and slow enough, I will be able to just kind of pull into him and spray him to death. Or at least that is the idea here. We are gonna be pulling in. He's going pretty slow. We are not going much faster, but we have a lot of altitude on him. So we should be able to kind of dip down, pick up some speed in the turn. This guy is going way too slow. We are gonna loop on over. And we should be able to pull into this guy just before the F7F comes in. Now, the P-51H here should be dead to right. However, I misjudged his energy state a little bit. And he just has the ability to pull out of my nose. Now this right here is very frustrating, because we are now equal on energy. And it's a 2v1. Now I need to run away from this F7F, so we are just going to be diving away. And I mean, that's all there is to it. We are a jet, we are quicker than him. We're just going to run away and reset the fight. And I'm cutting a bit too much today, but this video was going to be way too long and I do want to show everything. It's a matter of running away, getting separation and using your speed to get back above them. And it's great if they try to follow you. These guys didn't go off to climb on their own, which means that I'm able to kind of do this. And I don't want to bore you too much with today's video. I think I have some interesting footage and I don't want to be flying straight for 50% of it. If I used every clip that I was using fully, this video would have been about an hour long. P-51H is getting pretty close just because of his climb speed. I'm just kind of trying to run him out of web. Both of them have been spraying at me from long range. The F7F might actually be quite low on ammo. I notice that he's flying to the side here, so I'm gonna see if I can intercept. He tries to go head on instantly and I'm not even gonna think about taking that. We are back to square one. I thought I had an opportunity. I thought that the F7F was trying to bait me into a dogfight or whatever so that the P-51H could like shoot him down, but he was just baiting for the head on. I'm not gonna be taking it. I'm just gonna be flying away again. And I mean, that's all there is to it. We are back to square one. I don't really mind dogfighting the F7F or the P-51H. I'm not going to be dogfighting both of them when the other one will get a very easy gun solution. The F7F has been spraying for quite a bit now and he breaks off, which to me is my free ticket to start dogfighting the P-51H. I am not trying to run because I'm scared of dogfighting this guy. I'll do it any day of the week as long as I don't get third party, because the Strikemaster doesn't have the best engine and once you are out of energy it's hard to get it back. So I air brake a little bit to slow down, get behind him, go low to the ground, force him to fly into a certain manner. Works out quite well. Air brake out a little bit too long. I kind of forgot about it, if I have to be completely honest. So we pull it back in and we are now on this guy 6. We have some energy and I should be able to just kind of spray him down. The stall speed of this thing is very, very good. I nicked him quite badly there. He is not doing very hot, but he is still in the fight and I want to make sure that he dies. But I'm also trying to make sure that he doesn't die too quickly, because I do want the F7F to actually come back to us. Because at this point I was kind of scared that the F7F would land and bail out, because I do want to actually fight him. So for now, I'm just going to break off. I'm going to let this guy cook his engine and we are going to fly away in the hope that the F7F thinks that he can still 2v1 me. And I mean, it did work out, but not exactly as planned. I was expecting the F7F to actually go back to the runway, and I was hoping that the P-51H would be up long enough to the point where the F7F actually thinks, yes, I'm gonna take back off, and I'm gonna see if I can re-engage the Strikemaster. Well, he made it a little bit easier for us even. He didn't even go back to the runway and he came back instantly. So that's perfect, and at this point he is too far away from the runway to get back to it, even if he turns around right now. So I'm gonna go sideways so he follows us for a little bit longer. I'm just trying to see if the P-51H is actually dead, or if he can like limp into the fight that I'm gonna have here in a second. So I'm gonna fly away from him for a little bit longer and just get some separation up. Now looking at his trajectory, his speed and just the amount of bullets that I put into his plane, I think he is not gonna make it back. So I'm just gonna go into the dogfight, make sure that I do not get shot down, and after I win the merge, it's basically over for the F7F. I do want to be careful that I don't run out of energy, because I didn't go into the fight that quickly, so I bait him into taking the shot, and we roll out of the way. And we just kind of flop on top of him. Now the issue here is that my guns aren't particularly great. So I do get a shot in, it basically hits his engine, but it doesn't really kill him. I use the flaps here to pull into him, but I don't want to use him too much, because this guy has a pretty decent position here. Now I'm not going to be able to pull into him, so I want to float as high as I can, then drop the flaps again to stabilize, make sure that I don't drop too much speed and I can stay underneath him. Because now we are picking up a little bit of speed, we pull in the flaps to stay a little bit quicker so that I actually have some speed to pull in. And you can tell with the flaps still half down, because they are in between stages basically, I'm able to just pull into the F7F and spray him to that. P51H then dies directly in front of us, and that is 7 kills with the P-shooters. Sorry Smeagol, I had to do it to you. Here we have the first game that I did in the thing with only 2 gun pods, and I'm gonna show you just how much agony it actually is. So we're gonna go for the AM1 first. He is pretty low, the entire enemy team consists out of attackers, and I just want to make sure that the attackers don't do too much damage, because well, I know at this BR the tickets will go extremely quickly if we let the attackers go unchecked. And there's a bit of foreshadowing to a future game in this video. Now we dive on the AM1, I'm just gonna see if I can shoot him down. First game, so I have no idea where these guns go yet. Kind of adjust, can't really pull in, we crit him, he's not really that badly damaged. I'm just gonna fly away, I'm not having it. I just want to make sure that I do not get to a party. So we fly away from them for a little bit. We pull in because we do have the speed and the separation to just do this real quick. Just want to make sure that I at least damage him a little. He's, again, it just doesn't do anything, and that is assist number 2. At least I think it is. Now we are going to keep diving away from these guys for a little bit, because the 82s and stuff are just not going to be catching us. We then fly away into the clouds, loop back over. Got again like about a minute and a half of wordless footage. And we go back to the 82. We shoot him some more. Again, just not a kill. But he should have some pretty bad damage now, so I'm instead going to switch on over to the better plane, which is the J5N1. Try to go underneath the 82 to make him crash. Doesn't really end up working out. Bank all of our speed into altitude here by using a turn with very high retention. Look at my speed, it's not dropping that badly. And I thought that the 82 was damaged badly enough to the point where we can just kind of head on him. Ends up not really playing out the way I wanted, and we now need to run away. Because, well, yeah, that wouldn't have ended very well. 109 is there, but he's out of position and he couldn't really help me. So instead, I'm just going to be flying away from the J5N for a little bit. We get another assist from the 82. And we are now dogfighting the J5N1. Now it's not really a dogfight in the traditional sense. We are not going to be knife fighting and doing like the 20 circle and the Koala Classic. We are not doing any of that. We are instead going to energy trap this guy by using our speed again. Now with a J5N it's a lot easier to showcase. So we use our speed to get away from him, get some separation, and because he stays on the deck, we now have a massive energy advantage, which means that I can be very aggressive, turn downwards, pick up some speed, pick up a lot of turn here, and just kind of shoot him down. Now you saw all those little flare marks on his wings. That's actually like yellow piss damage. It does absolutely nothing. But we should out dogfight this guy quite handily, especially with the damage that he has sustained now. It's not a lot, but it makes his energy retention worse. It makes his speed worse. Just all in all, it makes your plane a bit worse. And I hope it also weighs him down with all the rounds that are within his vehicle now. End up killing him rather easily, just because this thing holds its speed well and actually turns quite nicely. Then we see one of my most dreaded planes, anything with gunners. Why is that, you might ask? Because you don't have the firepower. And they kinda do. So you need to kinda tail sit them, otherwise you're not gonna be killing him. But I see Gunner is unconscious, he's not shooting back, so I just think fuck it, I'm gonna send it. Ends up working out quite well. Then we also see the B-17 in orbit. He is approaching for the runway basically. So what do? We're gonna pitch up straight into him. We are going quick enough. If we don't go too steep, we should be able to get a lot of altitude out of this zoom climb. We end up going pretty steep, but this is so slow. He shouldn't be able to really do anything here. He's probably not paying attention. He's just looking at the runway or whatever. But look at that kind of damage. We basically missed nothing. It's not an impressive kill. He does end up burning up basically instantly. But it's mainly there to show you that these guns do absolutely nothing, even when you have 2 equipped, so we are instantly going back to 4. We fly into the entire enemy team. We are above them, kind of. We are faster than them, so we should be able to energy trap. Depending on how many 109s turn for us, because I do want to be careful here. I can handle 2 at the same time, but I only have 2 hands and I can't jerk off everyone. Turning the balls off 2 people at once is hard enough. We fly over them, they do kind of pitch up for us. And then the other 109 that's over there is actually coming back. And he's in a squad with the guy that's on my 6. So I already know that this guy is gonna commit for me because he wants to help his teammate. Turns out to be an F4, which is actually more scary than the G10, I think, at least in a plane like this, because the F4 is just better at dogfighting. But I should be able to just slam him anyway, and it doesn't really matter. We pull in here, G10 was priority, but the F4 just kind of pulled in front of us, so we are gonna switch targets here. See if we can kill him. Get on the 6, some bad aim give, also just no fucking damage. We end up damaging him quite badly, that's a water leak at least. So I'll give it like a minute and a half, and then he should be completely dead. Because his engine will be cooking, if his engine wouldn't be cooking even without the leak. So, and now I just want to pull them to the deck. I showed you earlier that with the F7F and the P51H, it's actually quite annoying to get their speed low. It's very annoying to drain the balls. It's doable, but it takes a lot of effort. Whereas with something like the 109s, I mean the F4 especially, he's damaged, and even without damage he only does about 545 on the deck. This thing goes over 700, so I should be able to very easily just drain the balls real quick and then go vertical and shit on them both. That is quite the kink, I know. The G10 is a little bit quicker, but he still doesn't break 600. He is not gonna do anything. And I'll show you exactly just how easy it is with a plane with this much speed. We are going 820. He rips before that, so he's not gonna be doing anywhere near this. And he won't hold his speed anywhere near as well once he levels out, and especially once he starts turning. So I get them both directly behind him, get him close enough to the point where they do get interested and they do want to stay on my 6. And I'm just going to be pulling at high speed. You can tell that I'm not losing any speed whatsoever basically. I'm losing it a little bit very slowly, but I can do this very long and they are just going to be super slow. And now I just break off and I fly away from them and I'm going to put it into the vertical. I'm going to get away from them very easily. And I mean, look at the separation that I'm gaining here and how quickly I am gaining it. Now, if you are a 109, if you are a P51, or if you are any prop, just don't follow those dives. Fighting jets, when they have a semblance of a clue, is very hard. It's very one-sided, and this is why the jets are just so strong, why speed is so powerful. Look at this guy, he's completely drained. There's no way in hell that he's gonna get the shot. And yes, the F4 broke off, but the F4 was gonna fare worse in this kind of maneuver, so it didn't really matter in the slightest. Now this guy is stalled out, he's gonna eat shit and die. We then strafe the F4 on the way back to the runway because his engine was indeed completely cooked. And here we have the last game, and my second game in the plane ended up going quite well. Unfortunately, it's, well, if you have listened to my foreshadowing, you already know what's gonna end up happening. We are gonna go for the 84 and the other 84 on the deck as well, because there's just too many attackers, and I do want to protect these tickets, because even though I absolutely hate that every game basically doesn't last full time, or at least still everyone is dead, because tickets ended prematurely very often, I still need to play around it and make sure that it doesn't happen. We crit the first guy, we then go for the second 84, that's not really paying attention, we just dive after him, we fly straight. We end up hitting him with a lot of rounds, does absolutely piss, because the 84 is actually pretty decently armored, I guess. It's very sturdy, and it doesn't really like dying. I mean, look at this, we're gonna lay into him a tremendous amount, we end up exploding his balls underneath his plane. It doesn't even kill him yet again, he is very committed to those ground units. I mean, look at him, he's gonna end up spraying at him a little bit more. And that right there is what kind of ruined my game. Unfortunate. But he does die, he does burn up, and we are going to go head on with the second 84, I believe is the one that we crit earlier. He is very slow, and he gets stolen. Well, not really stolen, the Yak 15 slams him out of the air, he's basically stalling at this point. And the Yak 15 just kind of dives on him and instantly takes him down. J6K and F2G. F2Gs are actually pretty annoying to fly against in this thing, because they just have nuts acceleration and a pretty decent top speed. You'll see here he does a 180. And we are outrunning him, but it takes quite a bit of time to get outside of the gun range. F2Gs are not really a counter, not really, but I mean, in terms of a prop, probably the closest match to this thing when it comes to Araby. So again, we fly away for a little bit until everyone breaks off but one guy. I start outrunning the Mk.88, but I mean, I can take the fight right here. I know I can win this fight right here, so I'm gonna be taking it. We are going quick enough, we just dodge the head-on yet again. We go up and over, and we basically just fall right on top of him. We won't be able to turn into him right here, because he's going much slower, and it's gonna make our loop a little bit wider. So we just kind of put it into a raid fight, and because the Mk.83 is out of energy at this point, basically, all I really need to do is just kind of pitch into him. And I mean, do I really need to say anything here? We just spray him down until he turns into SpongeBob. He's dead. He's on fire, even though he is underwater in his pineapple. So we fly towards the airfield where the J6K is, and I have more guns than this guy, so I'm very confident in this head-on, so I'm just going to be spraying at him. We end up just dicking his engine, basically, and we can just go vertical and take him out instantly. Very lucky hit. It's a head-on and a fight that I'm not very keen on taking, because the J6K just turns very well, it climbs well, and is very deadly in a dogfight, and it's something that I don't really want to take on. At least, not in a fight. It's not a thing that I want to dogfight, and we weren't going that fast, making it very scary in the head-on, especially because it's so maneuverable. So luckily, we ended up getting past the head-on and digging his engine, making that fight very short-lived. F2G comes in. I know I can dogfight this guy somewhat. I'm going to try to get a first shot in, maybe like damage his engine or something. But I need to be careful of the P51H, so I'm going to turn towards the P51H now, to make sure that I can turn into both of them at the same time. P51H instantly shows that he's super passive, and I'm gonna try to use this to my advantage and reverse the turn into him yet again to push him away and make sure that he doesn't want to take this fight. So I'm gonna shoot at him for a little bit. I don't know what the hell that was. Absolute most Pepega shot I've ever taken at anyone. I think instead of making him scared, I just made him more confident by that display. But I will be able to turn into the F2G here. We actually end up hitting him. It does absolutely nothing as per usual. But I should be able to keep edging him in this scissory motion until he finally explodes. We crit him there. Damage of oil tank. I think I damaged his engine also a little bit. I can tell that his turning circle is instantly much wider. Get a much better firing solution. And we just dome him right between the eyes. Now, I'm sorry P51H if you're watching this. But I honestly have no clue what you were doing throughout this fight. You let your F2G die like 4 times in a row. You're gonna fly away from him for a little bit, just to get a bit of separation from the main pack in the enemy team, and then we're just gonna dogfight him, because what he just showed me, I am not too worried about his flying performance. We are gonna spray at him in the head-on, hope he is kinda scared again. We recommit, we end up hitting him, he also glances us, and we just go vertical. He has some damage to his engine, I think. I'm not sure how bad it is. Just make sure that we don't end up ramming or flying in front of him. And he's out of energy. We can just kind of pitch up after him. He is... I think I did kill his engine yet again, because he is just falling out of the air at this point. So we just kind of look at him and spray him to death until he also finally explodes. No use landing, way too little tickets, and the Mk.84 is coming in. And I do want to make sure that I stay underneath him. Gives me an advantageous position, should be able to just pull up and over, because he is diving on us, he's going quite fast. We're going relatively slow and slower than him, most importantly. So we should be able to just pull in and shoot him down. I'm not going to go vertical one more time, because he's going downwards. And then I give him a very large angle to shoot me down. We are not getting a shot just yet, but we are going a lot quicker now. He is dropping speed quite fast, and we are able to just kind of slow him down enough. Absolute jump scare by the Mk.88. He starts spraying at the Mk.84. At this point it doesn't really matter. But thank you very much for helping me out, even though you were in a bomber. Mk.84 has fallen, and now there is like 3 extra guys left, and I think I could have maybe done something if I had the time. However, that's a resource that I do not have, and I mean, it's an F2G and a P51H holding hands, as well as like 2 attackers. It was a hard ask. Then again, I would have refueled and rearmed like the previous or the first game, if I actually had the time to do it. It's unfortunate, but no use coping about it. That's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.